Without internet, nothing works. It's no comments. All right. Yeah, I'm here today talking about our Happyclient harness. So how we actually trust an agent in production and how we got there, basically. So I will talk about two things, like the engineering harness, but also lately we're working more and more on our organization harness. We're like a small startup. We started 1 year ago. And I will start with a little disclosure. It's a disclaimer, basically. So this deck was vibe coded by agents. We actually use HTML, by the way, as well for like internally to communicate with each other since a couple of months now. And we have a nice branding for that. And I thought, okay, I will just vibe code this presentation based on all the knowledge that he has. He also knows how I think, how I engineered our whole system, basically. But it was an experiment. Some of the things were good, some of the things were bad. So there's still a little bit of AI slop in here, unfortunately. So who am I? I'm basically one of those, I don't know if I can already call myself a crocodile, but one of those guys with 15 years of experience. And basically, through my career, I worked for big clients, big enterprises, like the banks, also for companies like the Pers Group, where we had like at one point in time, like 5-6 teams working on a big project with big CIC. One team was actually like six people, I think, were responsible for the whole CI/CD pipeline, because it was like pre-cloud even. Of the beginning of cloud, basically, and there I saw how you actually maintain like and architect a whole system with lots of people in it. And I think also throughout my career I worked on front end, on back end, like several stuff, and then in COVID I started founding my own company, which failed. Yeah, I learned a lot there as well. And now from 2025, I started with Lorenzo, who's there, Happyclient. And basically the takeaway here is I think I learned a lot of how to run a big organization. And actually what we try to do today is try to architect a big, like mimic how a big organization is with only basically 2 engineers currently. So what is Happyclient? So basically, Happyclient, we turn happy clients and employees into your marketing machine. So if your company has happy customers all around the world, we basically have technology that goes from their story towards a branded video and also other marketing content. So basically, some of our customers and what we do in 4 steps. We have some kind of agentic setup where we scrape your brand. We come with an interview, basically a digital interviewer, which you can send to your customers. The digital interviewer is like focused on your unique value propositions of your company. And then from there, a nice story comes out, an authentic story of that customer, why he likes your product. And then from there, we go to pro-edited videos, basically, and also much more of that. So from one testimonial, authentic testimonial, we go to lots of marketing content to use. So that's basically what we do. We started this 1 year ago. Lorenzo comes from the video and marketing world. He founded StoryMe before and knows what video does in marketing, basically. And he saw that it was the right time to scale authentic video via the remote capturing. Why? Because you have HD phones now, but also people love video, and also video can be a little bit more scrappy than before, maybe. And so everything was there to have like a good product for that. And I was looking basically for an existing business to automate, because I saw the wave coming from, okay, we have tools, we have software, we have tools, but we also have the technology right now to automate services, to have like a much broader scope that we can start tackling as engineers, basically. So the two came together, and we founded Happyclient. And today we are a team of 5. Basically, we were a team of 3 for a long time. So myself, Lorenzo, and then Toon, who was an engineer, joining from day one. And currently we have a student job, Annika, that does design, someone that will join for sales and customer success. And then we're looking for a customer-facing builder, we say. And it will become clear why we need a person like that. But basically, we want someone with engineering skills that loves to build, but also is keen of talking with our customers, and also doing some of the service layer, and then automate it afterwards. So basically, someone that wants to take ownership in the whole thing we're doing. So I have more or less the same slides here. Why are you here? I saw three topics, like autonomy you can trust. So yeah, how can we go agents that change their own code in production? How do you guard it? I think we have some answers on that. Make it bigger. I can make it bigger like this. But this will fuck up the HTML, so I will. Is it okay? Can you read it? Like, not at all? All right. And nothing? Like, okay, no. Okay, I'll try. Okay. All right. Okay, then structure and quality at speed. We already heard a lot about that as well. And then architecture and context gathering. We will tackle all those 3, I think. So Happyclient, we have our engineering harness and our organization harness, and that's basically what we try to that's Happyclient, basically. For me, context is everything. So 1 year ago, we started building Happyclient. We had 2 repositories. We had our knowledge base, we called back then, and then actually a month later, so I think May, June, Lorenzo said, yeah, it's actually like a brain. And then like a couple of months later, people started talking about the brain. So we had a brain before it was like a term, the brain. We had a knowledge base with all our company conversations. We used video transcripts from day one, all our emails, comments. So we have a rich base of context there from the company. And then in our monorepo with our products, also there the context from day one. I didn't want to use tools like GitHub Issues or Indeed Linear, which is very good. But I was like, okay, let's just use Markdown. Let's just use, we call them Kanban tasks, basically. Also Markdown files with some front matter for every task to say, okay, this is what we're working on. So from there, we're building a very rich context. And yeah, from there, I think the model becomes, everything becomes, very easy to leverage what we already have, basically. So for the harness that we built, like I'm like, okay, let's try to treat the LLM like a person, and basically it's the same. The model indeed is like a footnote. Okay, the models became much better, but basically it all starts from their capabilities, the capabilities that you give them. So yeah, we also gave it a voice recently. So Slack, I will come on that later. So we have an agent-to-agent communication channel, for example, where we exactly try to solve that issue, where we have communication that we want to share between agents. And then our job is that we build on top of the existing coding harnesses, because they are indeed becoming bigger and bigger. And there's, I mentioned Cloud Code because that's what we use. There are other examples, of course, out there. And yeah, for us, it's all about the strategy and the vision. We also currently have like documents in our code base that say, okay, this is what we want to focus on this quarter. And from there, also every intent, we call it intent, every new feature request that comes in basically is also getting evaluated. Is this the right time? Does this fit in what you're building? And it gives us a little bit of, so it gives also the model a lot more information about where we're going. And that's the most important part where I will talk of, I think. It's all about the guardrails and the safety that you put in place. And then you can give it as much autonomy as you want. So for me, it's giving it the right context, having the right guardrails, and then you have agentic freedom, basically. So basically, where we are today, this is what we did lately. We just, as I say, like, okay, we want a new feature where we have our customers, they should be able on the videos to give feedback on, like, they see a video, they stop the video, they give feedback, and it's specifically on that second that there's feedback. There's like communication back and forth. We have in our monorepo, we have 8 apps. Basically, one of the apps is like an editor app where we can assign editors to certain projects. And then they get the feedback in, they can communicate with it. Also, the idea, of course, is later on that, like, for that part, we will also have like an agent editing the video and then can go back and forth. But this is just to say, this is like the context we give it, nothing more. It creates a ticket, a Kanban ticket by itself. And then, like, there are several steps in it, but basically, we don't do anything more than that. Also, like you see, ideally, you give it a deterministic goal, and it will figure out the rest. So basically, it goes right into production. And what we do, because we're like a very small company, we have our designer like right at the end most of the time. So because, yeah, we're the 2 founders, we know where we want to go. I just code whatever we think of. Like in a day, we're like, okay, we will build this, and we build it. And then we have our designer doing an iteration in the end. So we basically have our big monorepo, and one of the apps that we have is a demo app. And the demo app doesn't have any backend. It's just like all our different web apps are mocked in there. And we have a separate monorepo where we transfer everything to, with its own context for the designer with everything. But the code is synced in 2 directions. Why is that? Because, yeah, our designer, for example, now it's a student job, but also designer doesn't need like the big repo with everything in. They just have a subset of that repo. She uses Cloud Code there as well. She codes it, and basically it goes immediately back to production. So that's where we are now. She makes some changes, and it goes back to production, of course, with the right guardrails in place. So that quote was already mentioned, but like, I don't know when it was, half a year ago or longer, I was like, no, I shouldn't build a product anymore. I should work on building the system that builds the product. So basically, from then on, I started, like 50% of my time can be about the system, 50% about the product, and it really pays off. So this is the system we have in place today. So what happens is, like, the intent, it's a markdown file. It's like we have that Kanban system, and sometimes we just still code, like we give the intent and then it starts from there. But we also have a whole pipe that can prioritize, but we use it less and less because we're basically, like, our backlog is basically gone. But when we had a backlog, it was just like with this system, you put it in, it says, okay, okay, the intent is there, you want to create something, okay, we make it deterministic, so we have like a refinement. We check, okay, does it fit our strategy? What are the things that we can make sure that we can actually loop upon? For example, we had like a test with that was an interesting one, a test with the Tafel van Gert a couple of months ago, where we expected lots of load on our interview, and like in several seconds, people in whole Belgium could scan QR codes, and there could be some load towards. Yeah, we're a startup, so we started like also for backend. We just start for a key value store, for example, in Redis. There's lots of stuff just in there. And then it was like, okay, will it work when there's like, I don't know what we said, like, what was it? I forgot the load that we had to test for. Yeah, in a couple of, in a minute, basically. So then we did some load tests on it, and also there, yeah, if you just make it deterministic, you say, okay, and sometimes deterministic for me, it's in that case, it's like we wanted to be able to have that much load, and then you have a very deterministic goal, but sometimes I also say, okay, it's just, you spin up an agent with, we have some personas in there, and we say spin up an agent with a specific view, like a marketing user from our side with this, and who thinks this and this and this, and make sure he's happy for 80%, just like that. And then you have someone else, another agent also with another persona, also being happy for 80%, for example. And then it just loops, and it checks, and it improves itself. And sometimes you even have conflicting things that it's like, for example, for some things I was like an engineer and a product designer, or an architect and a product designer, and then it was like, yeah, but yeah, if you enhance it for the architect, the diagrams are better, but then for the designer it's not good anymore. So you have then things like that appearing. But basically, then we go to the implementation phase, which flies basically, and then we have reviewers, and it depends also. What I heard here, it depends also on the complexity of the task. So we have the Kanban task with one of the things is like how complex is it? But because I try to mimic basically the agile approach from before, but completely in an agentic way, and in the tickets as well. We already have like an estimation on how complex the ticket is, what the surface is that it touches, so how potentially dangerous it is to have things that should be checked extra, and then depending on that, there's other reviews in place. We also have CodeRabbit. It's not mentioned on this slide, but like one of the things we do, it's one of the first things we unlocked was like in the pull requests. We had CodeRabbit checking the pull requests, and it finds lots of the bugs and the inconsistencies. It also builds up its own rule set based on how you worked in the past, and that also we just loop it through. In the beginning, we still did manually fixes on that, but I'm talking about like September or something last year. And then there's like a security gate. So all of that until the pink box is basically in the agent context. So those three things can be in the same agent context nowadays, because Opus 4.8 in Cloud Code just spins up other agents. But then there's a gate, and that's basically outside of it. So if it's committed, if there's a pull request, and then before it gets merged, there's other coding agents that check it and basically flag it if they think that something is wrong. And then if there's something wrong, they post it on Slack. But what happens also, we have like the agents are also checking if the pull request gets through. And for example, in the case of fail closed here, it tries to fix it itself. So, and there's of course always a risk in that something gets a loophole or whatever and it goes through. But also for that we have daily backups. So I don't know, a couple of months ago I said to Toon, let's just make sure that we have daily backups of our Git repository, that if something happens, that we can always revert to the day before, basically. All of our agents also have read-only access to all our databases, so they can always get extra information of how things are getting used in production, and if there are specific bugs linked to customers, they can debug, and that's also something we do. So the foundation is a monorepo, also with docs, code, tasks, and the CloudMD And what is very important in what we do is like a living architectural docs that we also self-review and update night by night. But I will come back on that later. So that's the big picture. So how did we get here? Basically, April 2025, we worked with Cursor and Sonnet, and there was a first taste of what it could be. It was the beginning of the company, so it was like we didn't have anything, and we saw, okay, we can create everything very, very fast, like from scratch, of course. But then I noticed, definitely with the CI/CD setup, or when I wanted to push it a little bit outside of the things it knew, that it got, the Sonnet models really, if you squeeze them into a corner, they just went rogue, basically. And then in the summer, with GPT-5 was like the moment I was really working on a smooth CI/CD process, like with end-to-end tests included and stuff like that. So that's what we do as well. So we have multiple, we have like a preview deployment, staging deployment, and a production deployment. And between it, we do some system tests, and only when they pass, like for the most crucial parts, we go to the other environment. And to set all that up, GPT-5 was much better than Sonnet before. And then with Opus 4.5, we shifted to Cloud Code because of the bills. Cursor, I had $600 myself in a month almost, and then we shifted to Cloud Code, the $200 plan, and we're on it ever since. And it's only since the last month that I don't have enough anymore with the $200 plan. It's and definitely with the 3 days or 5 days of Fable, it was crazy how fast it was gone. So and then from February, I remember in November, December, we worked on our Agentic onboarding, and there I tried to one-shot with a nice plan and communicate with Cloud Code. I tried to one-shot it, and I thought it was working, but there were several flaws in it still. And but then, as from February, Opus 4.6, and definitely now, I don't see the flaws anymore. Basically, it just does what it says that it should do. So to come there, I try to work from bottleneck to bottleneck, and basically in the beginning, so we're only 2 engineers, but I already felt like, okay, we need a merge queue where we can just say, we basically say auto merge, and it gets merged automatically by a merge queue. Because I saw that it was becoming too much work for Toon and me. Toon was always, can you review? And okay, and we need to merge, and then if you have lots of things, you need to rebase, and you need to all those stuff. So that was the first thing to automate. Then also in August, and also GPT-5 helped a lot with it. I worked with Terraform before in the Pocket, in Dierckens project, and Terraform, it's just like it sets everything from your infrastructure, just in code and in Terraform. But I loved it from day one that I knew it existed. But it's a new language again. It's like a hassle, and then I was like, okay, but now with the agents, let's just use Terraform. I don't want to click anymore in Google Cloud. And back then, there were no Cloud agents that could click in the browser, basically. And then just, like I said, think of it like a very big company where everything is automated. Terraform is part of it. So there's just like a configuration setting for our backend. And then from there, everything goes much smoother. You don't have to click anymore in the Google Cloud Console. Then CodeRabbit, so reading every PR. In the beginning, we still did it manually, checking the pull requests, but I saw basically that it captured everything. So one day I said to Tony, I'm not reading it anymore. I'm just solving it in a loop, and then when that's done, we just merge it. coding by hand stopped in February, so also I don't open an editor anymore, except for yesterday and today to make this presentation, because I couldn't, like with the vibe coding, it stopped at a certain point, and I started editing a little bit of the copy myself. Yeah, and then for us as well, so the visual QA was still a very hard part for the longest time. So around April, I started really, the QA end-to-end, but also the visual QA was always something that that we still needed to do. And now we have some walkthroughs basically if an agent puts a label walkthrough on a pull request, there's another process starting and is basically with the Kanban task we have basically has a scenario, and that scenario just gets run by another agent in the cloud, and it just visually checks it with Playwright. There's a video option as well, and it just makes a video out of our feature, and it posts an HTML file with a video in it, and it says this was the feature, this is the steps that I checked, and then it's correct or not correct. And we can just go to that page and watch the video if we want. So basically, that's what we are. So we're going towards, the intent engineering, what I showed you earlier. So that's basically where we are almost now. As you guys can see it. So something we do already for a long time now is that we have indeed Sentry that is also checking, okay, not Sentry, but an agent that is checking. It's checking Sentry, but also it's checking whatever changed last night and is searching for bugs. If it finds bugs, it indeed investigates the root cause, fixes it, and for us it's like red-green development a little bit for that. That I actually stole from the Claude convention a couple of months ago, or a month ago or something, where the creator of Bun also did that. So they create tests that should fail first, and then they should pass after the pull request. So that's also what we're doing now. But something we do already a long time now is also patching minor and major updates and security issues. So also in that nightly update, we have something that checks that and updates that automatically, because it was also a pain. Like I tried to, everything that was maintenance before and development was like always a hassle. As a team, you had to fight for it with product. We need that much time to maintain, to have patches, to update things. But also like refactoring. It's not on here, I think. But we have also an architecture check every night, and based on all the architectural documents, it's also checking what came in last night, if the documents are still up to date with the new architecture, if there's things out of sync, and then it basically creates tickets by itself, and there we do actually 3 architects with 3 reviews, and then we take the best of 3. So 3 of them do the same thing, and then we bring it together and say, okay, this is definitely, they all say it, so it's definitely something we have to tackle, and then they create tickets, and it gets also updated. And what definitely happens is the documentation gets updated. So for me, more than ever, I was always like, in the past, I was always like clean code, super important. But for the agents, they're like mirrors, they just take what they see. It's basically like every developer does as well. If you have a code base and there's like some patterns and you need something, you go there and you check and you reuse. So it's very important that you keep it clean, that you keep every layer very clean, and then it goes by itself and it takes the right patterns and it enhances itself. So I think all of those things are super important to come to that level. But they are becoming less and less important. That's also something like in the beginning, like September-ish, you still needed like lots of rules, lots of things in place. Also, like the context 7 I saw, we used it in the past, but I don't use it anymore. Also, I saw all the skills around, frameworks. I was actually surprised. We don't do that. So I hope there's still value in it, but I don't really miss it to do it. And I think the models improved that much that it's maybe not needed anymore. So I would also, for myself, I try to stay skeptical for the approaches you take, and indeed try to make it less and less, because I love the approach, I think, as well, to try to get rid of it and then check if you still need it or not. So I think it's very important to keep on doing that as well, but also the models can definitely help with that, because they know what they know. All right. Yeah, that's some examples, basically. So here you see in Slack, the bots are posting like that code that they cleaned, dependency updates, and then a feature. So they're task workers, 3 in the night, that if something else scheduled something to fix, it just takes it up and it fixes it and it merges it. So yes, for us, the agent codes until production. And we have fail safes in place, but this is here one that I took. Yeah, but this is not working. Do you guys can read this? Probably not then. But this is in Dutch. Also, why it uses Dutch, I don't know. But this is for our knowledge base, which I come back on later on. And Lorenzo, that is there, was creating. He was creating like for the Tafel van Gert a quote. So he's totally not technical, but he's using our system that I will explain later to create quotes and invoices. And apparently he wanted Dutch, and he just coded something. He probably didn't even know that he coded it. And then it gets flagged because pull requests from Lorenzo can go through, but only if they don't touch code. So that's also something that I do. Like at the beginning of a new conversation, the agent checks in Git who he's talking to. And depending on who he's talking to, he changes how he talks to him. And he also, so I control a little bit of what he's doing. And I was already thinking probably I can inject things that he doesn't want on his computer by taking that approach, but I'm not doing it right now. So basically it gets flagged, and it's just like, Jonathan and Toon, can you check it because he changed something? And we do the same with anti-tampering, so make sure that he cannot update his own, because also the rules the rules are in the code base. So if something by that changes, we still have to manually, fix that. Okay, I think that's already covered. I also talked about the red-green development, the personas. So we indeed have certain personas that we talk, who human judges, not human judges, judges that run in a loop, and then the agent tries to improve itself. I saw a question about vector or graph as well. That's actually interesting because in my previous company, like the beginning of the LLMs, we used that as well, a vector database, and also Cursor in the beginning was indexing everything, but the agents are super good at just grabbing and everything from the command line, that they just gather all the context in human language basically. So I think for a normal project, or what is normal? And for a project of our size, we definitely don't need it. And also I think it's less and less important because agents now are spinning up other agents via tools that can do that work. So basically it will take longer probably. So when do you still need such a database? It's, in my opinion, for speed and cost reasons probably, but not really for quality or for getting the right data, because agents, are very good at grep in Markdown and also in HTML apparently, because apparently the token languages are adapted to HTML, so they're also very cost efficient at reading HTML. So for us, I think it's all Markdown and it works. Because I saw also for brains, there's also discussion, yeah, we just use plain source files, like a layer of all our emails, all our transcripts, and then we don't really have a layer on top. We have analysis of things, but like just for searching, I think that's enough for us with our size, at least. Yeah, so as you guys saw, everyone ships. It's not just engineers. It's also Lorenzo that is shipping PRs now. And product people ship PRs as well. Most of that I already covered. And then to bridge the gap to our organization harness, I think, because I think a lot about the future, and of course you can never predict where it's going, but I feel that the world will need more engineers, not less, because probably lots of you are just like I did, for a long time, were coding themselves, and now I'm saying here, yeah, the coding part is like done, basically, but like the system thinking, the way we think as engineers is totally not done. Like it's the opposite. Now you can have so much value of doing that, and all the companies that were previously not engineering focused now need engineers in their company. So every company now has value to have someone that can automate their process. So I think there's lots of room for people who have the system thinking approach, or companies who are very good at productizing certain stuff to help traditional companies. And I think that's like a window of like a long time still open for people with an engineering mindset to help. It's definitely a bit different, because if you only do that, probably that's not enough. You also have to step it up a little bit and understand how everything works in the company, the mechanisms. But basically, it's also just engineering it. So for us, it's about stop engineering products. It's about engineering an organization. And basically, we have a brain. And for example, how Lorenzo uses the brain, we also have our website. He just, you could say vibe codes the website, but that's not true, because I have like skills, the designer audit skill that is checking, okay, whatever he pushes, does it apply to all the rules of how the code base works, but also already for him, when he's like just typing, it already works the way I want it to work. So there's like, and it's not that I want to control him, it's just that I want to keep it clean, basically. And then he's just using that, but he also, for example, in this case, we have a video playbook, and that basically the rich content that comes out of it is basically coming from a year of Happyclient and all the conversations we have. And so there's like very rich content, and we can like in one prompt create something that brings value to the world on our website. So our brain is basically, it has HubSpot, Gmail, Fathom calls, Drive, and Google Drive and Slack, and everything is coming in there. You probably can't see it then. No. But this is just email, and all the emails come in, and you have like also here you have the front matter, basically that when it comes in, that labels which kind of email that was, basically. And then the brain started basically because I also do the administration part in Happyclient, and I was like, in the beginning, we were still searching for who is our ideal customer, what is our pricing, and basically Lorenzo was in calls, and just with one company, he was deciding a little bit other features or important stuff with another pricing that for another customer, and I had to like then create an invoice, and it was like, yeah, I won't search for everything back and then look what we sold. No, all the emails came in, and I just say make an invoice or make a quote for that customer, and then we have like from there we create a PDF, and the PDF goes to the customer. There's a QR code on the invoice. People can pay with it, and then Peppel came, and it's still quite easy to do. Like now he's just uploading it, and it's gone as well. But basically, that was the start of the brain. And from there, we also now, of course, have like sales follow-up. So transcripts get written, okay, analysis get done after the quarter, okay, what did we try to sell that didn't work? What are the objections of the people? So we bring everything, we can map everything out. And I also use it for my own emails because I hate emails and like lots of like Gmail triage that gets done. And also already we're experimenting with that, like starting to already do the work for us as well. So querying the brain was the next thing we did, also with the skills. And that's what we're at now. So basically, our brain becomes our coworker. It's helping us run our business. So basically, yeah, here you can see, yeah, the idea was to have the conversation above as well. So there's an email coming in, and normally it gets, like this is for outbound, normally there's like an auto reply in Slack ready to send, but then he was not doing it, and I'm just asking it, and it also helps like developing. So the one part it's helping developing, but on the other part you can see it's really for the outbound already. It's already drafting the emails, and we can just send them with one click. You see they're sent by Jonathan, and see if you see it. I just pushed the button and it got sent. And also that person referred another person in his company, and I said, okay, also draft now a person to that other person, a mail to that other person, and it just creates the draft, and we can send it. So it starts helping us as a coworker, and basically. Last week, indeed, Cloud Tech launched, and here you can also see that, okay, that's why it, here you can also see it's exactly the same idea. So Cloud Tech, they want to work from Slack with agents, but agents that have constraints in their departments, and that's also something that we now already saw, like with everything in the brain, because I start using it for accounting, for HR, I have like negotiations with a new employee that comes in. But everyone's like in the brain, and all the information is in there, and we are a company, everyone can see everything. But of course, it's also not always ideal that you have all the information together. So you need those boundaries in a company, and I think Cloud Tech is a very good example of that. But also, like, and we also have that in our own brain, depending on the channel it works, it has other things to do as well. So here you see, what we're developing, it gets, yeah, from time to time we do something, and then the market also starts doing it, which is good, of course. We just start using it and we build around it, basically. We already have those processes in place, so we just replace it with something better, and we build on top of it. So basically, Cloud Tech is the whole idea is doing that. And indeed, Karpati already got mentioned. He's very good at coining terms, because now I'm using the organization harness, and basically a week ago, I picked it from him, by the way, but he said here, Cloud Tech is a big thing. It's basically an org level harness, and the difference will become clear over time, because there's lots of people here mocking him like, yeah, it's just a Slack bot, but it's totally not just a Slack bot. It gives us the opportunity to have coworkers that are agents, basically. And that's, again, where the opportunity for every one of us comes in. So for me, engineering is just one clear pipe. So that's a pipeline, a product pipeline, intent-in, feature out. But an organization, and I see it when I try to automate all the rest what we're doing, is so much more. So we have the outbound, we have the marketing. Yeah, I think I forgot to show more of how Lorenzo uses the brain. So here we have, for example, he uses it for weekly sales and follow-up. So based on the brain, he has a skill that then checks, okay, who do I have to send an email? Who is a bit lacking behind? Who can I target again now with this feature or that, and like work from there. The site I already showed, so this is. It's a bit. Where is it? Yeah. So yeah, weekly activity recap for the team sync. So out of this prompt, now weekly becomes a presentation that just says, okay, what did we do this week? Where did we work on? So it makes everything much more visual, and we can communicate better with each other via this. So for example, so we have like a system now there that is just like, make me a showcase out of it, and it just creates a presentation of whatever you give it. And we really, since we have it, we use it like tremendously a lot for everything. So yeah, basically what I was saying is that an organization is so much more. The last couple of months, Toon and I worked less on the product. We have still lots of things to do. We're working on automated editing and stuff like that. But now we had like, okay, we can handle it basically. For now, we just need more clients, and we will work on outbound. So we helped engineering our outbound together. And then also for marketing, creating marketing content for ourselves, for our own company, based on, based on all the calls we had in the week. We create we start creating a content calendar with everything we can talk about, what we did, for example, that. So those are all things that we can still improve and work on. My intent is always to never do the same things twice. Of course, that's not always possible, but I always think like, if I did this now, okay, how can I improve this system that I don't have to do it anymore again? And I even have a skill now that at the end of the conversation, when he sees a pull request, that it just checks the conversation and checks if it can update something in the brain, basically, with things that I was talking about, that it can improve, some documentation or something I said about some client or something, so that it automatically gets updated. Of course, also for me, there's a few confessions. So I have to say, lately, I can't follow it all, because I talked about the engineering pipeline, and there's lots of things are automated, but definitely in the brain development, there's still lots of things that I'm like talking to in the context of the brain and creating there, because it's more about engineering that company is harder basically than creating our product currently. And there, I have to say, with the agents, from time to time, I can't follow what they're saying, because in that brain environment, there's like lots of, like, we have Slack, we have the setup of the webhooks with Slack when they post events and things like that. But to be honest, I don't really know how it works. So I know the big things, but there's definitely things coming through that I'm like, okay, I don't understand. But then mostly what I do nowadays is I just ask another agent to verify what you said, if it's correct, and then if that one doesn't complain, I'm like, okay, it's good. Yeah, I don't feel I have to bother with all the details anymore, and I have to understand everything. So we can have agents verify agents. And I know letting go is hard. We want to understand everything, but I think, we should let go from time to time. And the organization harness, like I said, is a very for me, more difficult to solve currently than our product. So 2 engineers, 1 year, and the whole system. This is like AI slop, I was saying. So what's next? I think like the way we're evolving, like we're evolving indeed from having that model and making sure that that model can be something like that can code, like, and that's how long is it? Like a couple of months ago, half a year ago, that was really solved. Now we see like more and more automated development, I think, or we will go there. And then the organization, but like for me, what's the next step? Like this is a bit philosophical, but like one day it will be, you give an ID and it will start creating a company and it will do everything by itself, I think. So I don't know where it ends, but this is something for later. But I think there's still there's still time, and if we think in systems, and we have that test-driven habit, and we do what we always did, but less focus on the details, I think with our engineering mindset, we can definitely help lots of companies in taking up that path. So, and one thing, so we're looking for a builder, and basically, I thought about it a lot. Who do we need extra in the company? And I want somebody that also has that system thinking mindset, but it should also be someone that really loves what we're doing, who wants to be involved with the customer and see, okay, that customer is a marketing manager that basically wants stories from his customer. How will he get those stories? How will he translate those stories into real marketing content and what to do with it, basically? That person should also be want to become interested in helping that customer delivering value. And then from there, go to the product and productize it, basically. So that's what I hope to find for the next builder. So, and this is like a little sneak peek into our product. I know there's also coming something like, what did you find about the talks? But if you scan that QR code, there's like a video interview from us where you can leave video feedback, text or audio feedback. And that was my talk. Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, thanks for your talk, very interesting. So, as you nicely said yourself, you're engineering the company now. How does Claude help you at that level? Does it come up with new ideas or new structures, like at the highest level you're working on?
Maybe I'm a bit paranoia, I don't know, but I feel more and more that the Claude models, they are very self-aware of what Anthropic is doing, and already before they come out with it. So like the Slack app we made and everything around it, it can help a lot with it. And then a month later, they launch that thing they're working on. And I already had that in the past as well. So to answer on your question, they're definitely helping with it, but you have to communicate a lot with them and talk with them, but they're definitely helping with it, yeah.
Yeah. How do you unwind at night? Like, do you find rest in your day? Because it's like exhilarating, no?
Well, the context switching, like I remember working with you two In the Pocket one time. I was like a little bit of the architect of the Dierckens React Native project, and there was like a period where lots of people came to me, and I was always like, I couldn't focus on my own work. Everyone came, and I was interrupted. Well, now I felt like that, like for the longest time, that context switching all the time, and the agents were constantly waiting for you again. And I like 5 tasks at one go, but then 7, 8, 10 sometimes. Or what I have a lot, I have lots of ideas. I start something and then I have a backlog in my own Claude Code with all things that I don't like. So yeah, it's definitely hard at context switching, but the 3 days I worked with Fable was like, I was there just waiting. Because it did lots more. It didn't ask any questions anymore. It just went completely through it, and it did it in a very good way. So also that is disappearing with the agents becoming better and better. And I have to say, since I used Fable, I use Opus also in another way more, and it gives me already a little bit more time. So if you put in the harnesses correctly in place, and you make sure that loop is working, and you put in deterministic stuff, and indeed, you fine-tune just what you want, basically, then it goes all much smoother. So better times ahead, maybe, I don't know.
Where do your agents run?
My personal agents run mostly locally. Yeah, the nightly ones run in the cloud, but we have the same issue from time to time that you have. I still have more capabilities locally than in the cloud. But I think it's a matter of just configuring some stuff, because I think we're there to move it all to the cloud.
And what do you exactly mean with the cloud? Is that you give it actions or something different?
I use mostly Cloud Code in the cloud, basically, or we just spin it up. And lately we also use, like, for the company brain and the bots there, it just uses for cell sandboxes with Cloud Code in it. So because GitHub Actions can become like expensive as well, and if you just trigger a webhook and in Vercel, and you spin up a sandbox there, and then you run Cloud Code in that sandbox. That's also a possibility. So, but I do both basically. But yeah, actually what was I wanted to say? Yeah, actually the thing we create for the videos that we create for the front end features that we QA, basically, they are done in the cloud as well currently. Yeah. Yes.
For your company brain, two questions. The first one, how do you arrange the routing? So when you ask a question, so the LLM can find the right file. And second, how do you prevent entropy from just corrupting your brain by starting to create duplicates of things, just making a mess?
Can you repeat the first question?
About routing, like how can the LLM find the right files? I imagine you have more than maybe 200 markdowns, 300 markdowns.
Yeah, it grabs into that customer base. Yeah, we have a Claude MD file that very much says, okay, those are all the source files. You were talking about the company brain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, if it's about the customer, yeah, there's like maybe there's no 20, 30 files of a certain customer. So it just if you give it the name of a customer, it just grabs towards those files and uses those files basically. Yeah, that company brain has lots of files, but like every customer is different, and like so currently we don't have any issues with that. It just finds those files. And about corrupting the brain, yeah, what we do, we have webhooks with emails coming in, transcripts coming in, and we just push the raw source of the email and the transcript with some front method on top. But we don't do anything with it, except when we, for example, run, like after Lorenzo's sales calls, there's like a script, an analysis running on the call, and it checks, okay, what are the next to-dos, and like it's all it knows what to, like every task has a specific goal, and for example, that one is just creating like the next phase in that deal, and like they're all very structured. We also, and that's like because I mainly vibe coded the whole org layer, basically. And what I see that happens a lot as well is that when it can use code, it uses code. So we have lots of, like for example, for those, yeah, so we have Markdown files. That's maybe interesting. We have Markdown files for our raw source files, but I use JSON files for all the rest of the configuration. So for example, for those deals, because we have UI for everything as well, and UI, to have it like structured, it needs of course structured data, and so everything that analyzes something goes towards a structured set. Like it's basically like you engineer something. So we never make from a Markdown another Markdown. No, we make from a Markdown, we go to a specific like framework. We have like the spiced framework in sales. I don't really know what it means, but like you have that framework, and from that framework we have like a JSON file with that structure, and the agents just go to that structure. So they're not like vibe coding around all the time automatically. Is that an answer to your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering a bit more when like you have consolidation. For example, you have like, what is the value proposition of Happyclient? And there's probably like, it can come from a meeting that you updated the value proposition, and maybe like also from a customer conversation. So then like these files that are like kind of like consolidation files, that they can be difficult to maintain because like those are being like updated and what to keep, what not to keep, avoid duplication, but do I understand that you don't have to?
No, we don't have those things, no. what basically, like for example, we make our OKRs, our objectives and key results every quarter, and then from there we also put it in the brain, and indeed from there I can imagine that we will rerun certain analysis or something, but that's also not done automatically currently. So we do then. We do like one go where we say, okay, like last quarter we had like for all the sales calls, like that sales stack skill is then just with new insights running every sales call once through that, and from then on it's every new sales call that goes through that system. So yeah, we don't really have that problem currently. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a good question.
The food is ready.
Yeah.